Hey, everybody. Welcome to Module 6 on cellaring and finishing beer. This is Class 1, and this is on beer transfers and a block and bleed. I feel like this video should be a little bit earlier in the series because I think that the block and bleed concept is so important, but it does also follow for it to be placed in the cellaring section as well. In this video, we're going to be breaking into how to build a block and bleed, why you build a block and bleed, the benefits of it, different ways you can utilize it to get the best beer possible into a Brite tank. And then we're going to look at a couple of different ways that you can transfer beer. We're going to be looking at how you can push beer from a fermenter to another tank or just from tank to tank. And then we're also going to discuss utilizing an umbilical between two tanks and then pumping that beer over. We have to remember that we put all this effort into creating a well-fermented, balanced, delicious beer. If we mess things up on our transfer side, on the cellaring side, all of that is going to go to waste. The whole point of what we're doing is trying to preserve the integrity of the beer that we're making. Anyways, let's jump into it. There is something that I utilize that I'm a really big fan of. It's a really key way of having sanitary transfers. And it's aside from the chemical side of things. This is actually a build function. I want to dive into talking about the old block and bleed. Right here is a block and bleed going through a sight glass, and then we hit a T, and the T is valved out. Me personally, I like to have a double valve on that. So what you would have is you would have brewery hose, and then I would have sight glass off of that, and I would have a T, and that T would be valved out. Both of those ports on that would be valved out. Now, some people would say, Adam, you're gonna have two valves right by your fermenter when you attach to the bottom. Yes, you are. I don't care. The reason that I like to have that valved off like that, and sometimes people will see redundancy in my valve builds, is I like to be able to isolate. If I have a length of hose that I'm going to use for a transfer or whatever, and I have a length of hose, I like to be able to isolate both sides of it in case something goes wrong. I have to detach, do something else like that. That's how I like to do it. Sometimes people don't have enough valves, but hopefully you do, just so you can have an isolated build like that. Going back to this picture, the main idea here is that through my primary line, sending wort or beer through the sight glass into the T, I can have my tank valve closed, and I would actually have the valve attached to the block and bleed. I would have that open, and then I would have the T portion that's kicking out to a dump hose. I would have that open as well. So when I start that transfer of liquid through, it's going to rinse my sanitizer out, and it's going to purge it with liquid. And we're going to talk about some transfer things here in a minute. But we're going to get that liquid all the way through. It's going to then go down, boom, it's going to jump out of the block and bleed, the dump valve portion on it. And then when I get the wort or beer that I want, I can close the dump portion and I can open the portion on the tank. That does a few things for you. I like to know that I have a closed system when I am building out a transfer. If I'm going to be chasing sanitizer through, hot sterilizing water through, or sanitizing water through, whatever it is, I like to be able to have that control of something going all the way through in a closed system. The reason that I will go valve on valve right before the tank, so this is the tank side, and this is the block and bleed side. I keep the block and bleed side open on it. So as the beer rushes down, it can fill this area too, because there is some dead space in there. And then as it runs out, kind of that purge side, that dump side of the block and bleed. We need to be building this stuff into our transfers. I think it's a very, very vital part of doing that. The idea is that you can run that through in a closed system. That's a very big deal, whether you're talking about from a sanitation standpoint or from an oxidation standpoint. Now let's jump off over from that concept to this next idea of actually doing beer transfers. So when we're talking beer transfers, we're talking about going from a fermenter to a Brite, whether it be a lagering tank, a horizontal lagering tank, just another tank that it's going to reside in, a Brite tank, what have you. What I like to do for beer transfers, and it's going to be building off of this idea of the block and bleed. When I do a beer transfer, one of my favorite things to do is to actually build 2 block and bleeds into my line. And you may think that this is silly, but there's a reason that I like to do this. So if we were just to look at the transfer line that we would have, I would have the side that is connected to the racking arm of the fermenter. And a lot of times in times past, I've just had, for that transfer line, I've had valve, sight glass, hose going to my block and bleed on the Brite tank. But I've started, I've done something different in the past, which I like a little bit more. Now we're just going to assume that we have this transfer line built out fully with a block and bleed as described before, the Brite tank side. So what my build would be is I have racking arm, and then of course on the racking arm, there's a valve. I would have another valve because that's how I isolate that transfer line, right? When I'm doing my CIP. But then I would have a tee off of that. You can have another sight glass. You could have a sight glass built in there and then line all the way over. So you'd say to yourself, Adam, why do you have a block and bleed on the tank side and on the fermenter side and on the Brite tank side? Here's why I like to do that. I like to push out that full transfer line, that is either full of sanitized liquid, like a PAA, which is my preferred thing to use when I'm doing chemical sanitation, or if I am using a hot water sanitation technique, that line is going to be full of that liquid. So what I like to do is I like to take my CO2 source and connect it to the fermenter side, block and bleed, and then I can push that out, all that liquid out of my block and bleed on the far side, on the Brite side. The nice thing is about that is, one, I'm eliminating most of the liquid that's in that transfer line. There's still going to be residual in there. And I'm getting pretty solid purge on that, because if you have a full column of liquid and you're pushing it out with gas, you're going to be replacing the super majority of it with gas. What I like about that process is, even though I'm going to be purging that transfer line with some sacrificial beer, cloudy beer, maybe a little bit that's coming out of the fermenter heading to the Brite tank, and we're not allowing that into the Brite tank, and we're dumping it with the dump portion of our block and bleed. I like that when I'm purging that beer through, there's going to be less oxygen in that space. There's going to be less chemical in that space, or less non-beer in that space. I want as little of that stuff to come into contact with my beer as possible. And then, of course, when my line is appropriately purged, I can close the dump on the block and bleed, open the bottom of the tank, and start pushing that beer into my Brite tank. That's how I prefer to use 2 block and bleeds in a transfer. Somebody might say, hey, Adam, dude, that's crazy. That's overkill. That's cool with me. I personally think in some ways, this is a game of overkill. I think if you're chasing greatness, and if you're not chasing greatness with what we're doing, and I'm not talking about like so you can get accolades for yourself or whatever. I'm not talking about through an egotistical standpoint. I'm talking about it from having respect for what you do, having respect for this thing that you make that has been passed down over generations to us, respecting that product, trying to make as great of a product as you can. That's what fires me up. So some of the things that I do may seem like overkill. If you don't want to do that, that's fine by me. But I'm always trying to troubleshoot ways that I can maybe get a little less oxygen pickup when I'm transferring a beer. Make that process a little tighter, a little cleaner. Okay? That's where my head is at. But that's how I like to build out that double block and bleed on a transfer. I've worked places that have an isolated transfer line with a block and bleed, and what they do is they just hit the transfer line side and the racking arm side with sani. And they do some cool stuff. I've seen some people when they attach, they don't go flush. What they'll do is they'll make the connection here a little bit so it is flush. And I'm just using the clamp here to simulate a ferrule, right? And then what they'll do is they'll crack it like a little bit like this. And then so they're still contacting on one part. And then they'll burp the beer side and actually fill this up with foam and close it and then clamp it up. I like that. Okay. I'm a fan of that. All right. And so I've been places where they push that out. And so they don't have it all built in line and then purge it out like I was talking about. That's fine too. Right. But I really love getting those lines purged of your sanitizing liquid and having that block and bleed definitely on the destination tank. Okay. Definitely on the destination tank. That's how I like to do that. Oh, and then the other thing, and this is when we're talking about beer transfers, what I like to do is I personally like to push beer from my fermenter to my Brite tank. And I've had people insult me. I push the beer with CO2. And I've had this one dude like get in my comments and just write like really like sassy things to me, tell me about how much gas I'm wasting. He's like, you should just be utilizing an umbilical and pumping it over. And I'm like, what if my pump sucks, buddy? I'm glad you have a great pump that doesn't leak and isn't dumb. But I've worked in a lot of places where my pumps are so dumb that the only thing I feel okay about doing with them is spinning chemical. All right. So if you have sweet enough pumps that you feel great pushing finished beer around with, awesome. Good for you. You've got nicer equipment than I have had for most of my brewing career. So let's jump into these transfer methods. So we have our transfer line sanitized. We're ready to move the beer from our FV to our Brite tank. We want to have very similar pressures on those two tanks. If I am at 13 psi in my fermenter, I want my Brite tank, my purged Brite tank, my purged and sanitized Brite tank, I want that to be at like 12. And then when I get my beer through my transfer line and I get it going into my Brite tank, I will usually let the pressures between those two tanks pretty much equalize. And then I'll start bleeding the pressure down on my receiving tank, on my Brite tank, by cracking the valve on the CIP arm, or sometimes there's a side port ball valve that you can slide open to help offset to drop some gas out of the Brite tank, so you continue to push that through. depending on how fast you're transferring, you might need anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5 pounds more psi going into your fermenter than you do on the Brite side. You're going to see the need for that more usually later in the transfer as the liquid levels between the tanks flip. Okay, and they're actually gets up to be more liquid in the receiving tank now. Usually have to increase that pressure. But I like to transfer beers nice and slowly. You might hate this, but go listen to my talk with Kevin Templin and talking about transferring beer slowly, gently. We're always talking about wanting foam. There's a million things that go into foam, but one of them is definitely not beating the hell out of your beer by blasting it into your Brite tank. A dear friend of mine, IRL, I know him, I love him. He's been there for me many, many times when I was very down and out. The beautiful Andy Gallagher told me that when he is transferring beers, he's generally moving at about 5 to 6 barrels per hour. You can say, hey, dude, that's way too slow. I can move it way faster. That's great. I think when you transfer that beer really fast, especially when you have that geyser, imagine that geyser of beer shooting into a lower pressure Brite when you're first starting to fill. I will say I would feel more comfortable starting my transfer slower. And then once the volume starts moving up that Brite tank, increasing your speed a little bit, because you're not going to be jetting that channel of liquid up into the atmosphere of that purged vessel, even that mostly purged vessel. Let's be real, it's never going to be 100% purged. So that's the way that I think about that. I like slow transfers, and I typically push with gas. Okay. Now, all that said, there is an alternate way to do this, which would be utilizing a pump. And if you have a great pump that you have no fear of oxygen ingress with, that is awesome. And if you want to be able to pump your beer, you absolutely can. And you can save CO2 by doing this. What I would build is I would build a sanitized umbilical line that would go from your fermenter to your Brite tank. Now remember, however you want to build it out, that sanitized line is going to need to be purged with inert gas, CO2, whatever. Okay, and then you can open up the valves between those two tanks, and the head pressure between those two tanks will equalize. So now when you hook your pump up to your fermenter and you turn your pump on, it's going to start transferring that beer over to the Brite. And as you're filling the Brite, it's going to push that headspace from the Brite tank back into the fermenter that the beer is coming out of. That's the concept with that. So if you do want to use that umbilical type concept, make sure you're using a sanitized line. Make sure that it is also purged. And you're going to want to have tanks of similar pressure when you set that up, okay? And then you can push that with a pump. You can't pump it, force it with a pump, all right? That whole pump rig, though, needs to be cleaned and sanitized and purged appropriately, all that stuff. So yeah, that's my take.